Oh, without further ado, get me off the stage. Let's clap it up for Ashton and Jeanty, man. Are you kidding me? Love you, dog. Proud of you. I saw your family out there. So yeah. I'm gonna come in. Thank you, guys.
Questions for Ashton Jeanty?
Ashton, I think you have a pretty rare perspective right now, being so far ahead of the rushing stats, the overall stats, the touchdowns. What does it actually feel like, though, to drag those players into the end zone?
First of all, I got to give God the glory because, He's blessed me with amazing talents. But, that's just the mentality of this program. We're going to line up, we're going to run the ball. You're going to know we're going to run the ball, and, we're going to keep getting yards, and we're going to make you quit. And, just kudos also, to the defense, man. They played hard out there. They kept getting us the ball back. I mean, they punished that quarterback, And, shout out to my dog Ahmed, man. He played his tail off. And then, O-line, tight ends, receivers, all other 10 guys on the field, blocking for me. They make my job easy. I just got to go break some tackles,
Where's that determination just to get through those tackles, cover them? And now, obviously, you want to do what you can for the team, but to be able to dig deep and just break through them the way you are, just how do you do it?
100% for the team. Every play is not going to be perfect. Every play is not going to be a big, wide gap, but, man, my guys are working hard each play to try to make space for me, and, that means a lot to me. So every opportunity I get with the ball in my hands, I take pride in that. I'm holding the whole program in my hands, and, I'm going to do my best, to get us yards.
Ashton, I know you came back for a few reasons, but to rush for 259 yards in front of the largest crowd in the history of Albertson Stadium, where does that kind of rank on the pecking order?
It's high up there, it's a dream come true. You dream of games like this, and I couldn't be more proud of this team. Not just myself, but the way we came out and competed in all phases: offense, defense, special teams. I mean, that's one of the best games I've been around since I've been here.
What allows you to, and your O-line or whatever, your rushing numbers when you get to play in the fourth quarter are off the charts, man. What allows you guys just to finish things out, I guess?
Yeah, the way we practice. So Coach D talks about it all the time, but, we got to strain in practice. We got to practice really hard because, as you can see, other teams, when we get to the fourth quarter, they don't got that extra push that we do. And, as a whole offense, when the fourth quarter comes, we're ready to keep going. We're not going to stop. So just having that mentality to finish games.
Before the season and after one or two games, we were talking about Heisman campaign and this and that. 4 games in, and you're in the thick of the conversation now. Just how are you handling all of that? How does it feel? Does it feel different now compared to, say, 4 or 5 weeks ago?
I mean, I guess you could say because, I'm doing the work and, everything's going right now. So I'm in a good place, but, most importantly, we're winning, and, that's just the most important thing to me right now.
Lauder has, throughout the season been laying some great blocks for you. These last 2 games, though, really balling out as a pass catcher, getting his opportunities. What does it mean to see him get some touchdowns?
Yeah, that guy works as hard as anybody. I mean, he's a dog. I mean, every play he lines up and he gives his best. And, he does a great job in the run game. But, to see his versatility and him to go out there and catch passes, 2 weeks back-to-back, he didn't get a lot of love in the first few games, but it's been great to see him out there making plays.
What's it say? Oh, sorry.
You're good.
What's it say about your offense that you're in a tight 7-point game there in the second half, and you just put the pedal, the foot on the gas pedal, and finish with 4 straight touchdowns to end the game? What's it say about this offense?
Yeah, we're not phased when we see adversity. It just motivates us more that maybe things didn't go right, but we got a chance to respond and to change the game. And when everybody's on the same page as a collective unit, nobody can stop us.
How about being on the same page? You go back to Dirk's 10 games when he was here, in your freshman year. Mm-hmm. The first 4 now, you guys are averaging 260 yards a game on the ground. How much are you guys on the same page right now and in a rhythm with what he wants you guys to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think from the beginning of the week they do a great job, the whole staff actually, dialing up the run game and, putting the plan together and, you know, we're on the same page with them. They teach it very well, and, you know, we're able to go out there and execute it and bring the game plan to life each week.
How much does he want to run the ball, though, man? It kind of shows it, but I mean, like, man.
Yeah, I don't know how many carries I had, but I just remember on Friday at practice, he came up to me and he was like, you know, this is a 25-plus carry game.
This might be a silly question. I think most people see you as superhuman, but what are some of the regular human things that people could relate to you?
Yeah, I mean, I put my shoes on 1 foot at a time each day. You know, I go to school. You know, I do schoolwork. I got a dog. I got Coco at home. I mean, you know, I cook, you know, clean just like everybody else. But, you know, I'm human, you know what I'm saying? And I happen to have, you know, some great talents on the field, but, you know, I got a heart that beats just like everybody else. So, you know, it doesn't make me any different in any type of way.
When you're making these runs of, you know, 60-plus yards, you're bouncing off guys, you're dragging them into the end zone. What's going through your head? I guess, do you go into autopilot? Do you black out? I guess, what's it like in there?
You know, I just kind of go into a dark mode, you know. I always got a chip on my shoulder. I always got something to prove out there. I feel like everybody on this team always got something to prove, and, you know, it shows on the field. But, you know, just to be able to have the ball in my hands, you know, I take that very seriously, and, you know, I feel like it shows on the field, dragging guys all across.
I don't know how many times we saw you hurdle last year. We finally see you pull it out tonight. Why'd you hit it then, and are you trying to be a little more selective when you go to that move or that button, if you will?
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to be smarter. And, you know, a couple of my teammates, they kept saying, like, you know, when are we going to see the hurdle? When do you see the hurdle? So I was like, all right, I'm going to bring it out this game, you know, if the moment's right. But definitely trying to be smarter because, you know, I landed on my neck a few times and just trying to stay healthy, you know.
You did hit the Heisman, it looked like, again tonight, right?
Yeah.
What joy do you get in that, man? And you obviously kind of wait until the moment where it feels like you kind of earned it, I guess, for that night.
Yeah, I think, I mean, just the way that the team played, and, you know, my success doesn't come without the team's success. So, you know, to be able to, you know, I get all the love and glory, but, you know, kudos to the team, man. Offense, defense, special teams for playing hard. But, you know, in the moment, you know, when it's right, you know, I'm going to hit my Heisman pose.
I feel like, you know, just following you at every game so far, it almost feels like players on the other team always seek you out. Tonight, it looked like you were trying to kind of seek out John Mateer there. Why was that?
You know, he's from Little Elm, Texas, so, I mean, right down the street from me. I lived in Little Elm, but I went to Lone Star High School, and, you know, he's a great player. I mean, you know, our defense lit him up tonight, but, you know, he is a great player, and, you know, he's done some great things on the field, so, you know, best of luck to him.
Anything else?
Because I'm sure the people will want to know what type of dog is Coco.
She's a poodle pointer.
How old?
About 7 months, you know, little baby, so, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.